My wife handed me a temporary dad until we upgrade mug on Father's Day. She said, "Smile bigger. This is going on TikTok." I forced a smile, understood, cleaned the kitchen, and walked away. Weeks later, her perfect story started cracking thanks to my wife Marissa handed me the gift box that morning with her phone already angled on a ring light. She kept saying it was going to be hilarious, that I was going to love it, that the kids helped pick it out. My stepdaughter Kelsey was practically bouncing, and my stepson Logan was holding the camera, though he looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. I opened it. Inside was a mug that read, "Temporary Dad until we can upgrade," in bold letters. There was also a fake coupon that said, "1 free day where you don't talk back," and a laminated card titled, "Family Award, Most Replaceable Member." I tried to laugh. I really did. Marissa kept adjusting the camera and telling me to react bigger. Kelsey was laughing and saying I looked confused, asking if I got the joke yet. I forced a smile and said something like, "Wow, really funny guys, because that is what I do. I keep the peace. I have been keeping the peace in this house for 3 years, ever since I married Marissa and became the guy who pays half the mortgage and fixes everything that breaks. The thing is, I might have actually believed it was just a bad joke if I had not noticed Marissa's iPad sitting open on the kitchen counter. I could see it from where I was standing. The screen showed a scheduled social media post with the title, "Father's Day Prank Gone Wrong," and a draft caption about how I couldn't take a joke. There was a content calendar, dates, hashtags, a strategy. I excused myself to get water and walked past the kitchen table. That is when I saw it, a handwritten content board, the kind Marissa uses for her lifestyle blog and TikTok planning. She had them all over the house, usually stuck to the fridge or propped up on the counter. This one was different. It had bullet points written in her neat handwriting, the same handwriting that used to leave me love notes in my lunchbox during the first year of our marriage. Father's Day prank. Emotional reaction. Then underneath, in what looked like Paige's sharper script, "If he gets upset, play the can't take a joke angle," and the one that made my stomach drop. "If he leaves, shift to victim narrative." I stood there holding a water glass, staring at those words, and something fundamental shifted in my chest. This was not a prank. It was content. I was the content. Every scenario had been mapped out. Every possible response I could have had was already weaponized. There was no version of this morning where I was just a husband receiving a gift from his family. I was a variable in an algorithm designed to generate engagement. I went back into the living room and played along for another 10 minutes. I joked about the mug. I said the coupon was creative. I hugged Marissa and told her it was memorable, which was true. Then I did the dishes, because that is what I do every Sunday morning. I loaded the dishwasher, wiped down the counters, and asked if anyone wanted coffee. Nobody did. They were already rewatching the footage. That evening, I checked our shared email account looking for a receipt. I found a folder I had never seen before titled Martin Brand Assets. Inside were draft sponsorship pitches, mock-ups of me holding tools with taglines like "The Dependable Dad" and "Everyday Hero Energy." Notes about monetizing my image, using my job for relatability, pitching us as a blended family success story. I was not her husband. I was a character in her content strategy. I did not yell. I did not argue. I finished folding the laundry, checked that the back door was locked, and went upstairs to pack a duffel bag. I took my work clothes, tools, toiletries, and the photo of my parents from my nightstand. I left the mug on the kitchen table with a sticky note that said, "You were right. I am temporary." Then I drove to a motel off Route 9 and checked in for the week. I have been an electrician for 17 years. I know how to wire a house so everything works, even when nobody notices. But I never learned how to fix a situation where I was never supposed to matter in the first place. Update 1. It has been 2 weeks since I walked out. I have been staying at the roadside inn, the kind of place with weekly rates and a vending machine that only takes exact change. The carpet smells like 30 years of cigarette smoke that no amount of air freshener can mask. And the walls are thin enough that I can hear the couple next door arguing about money every Thursday night. But it is mine. Nobody is filming me here. Nobody is checking my reactions or planning their next move based on how I fold my shirts. I picked up a temporary job doing maintenance at a storage facility while I figure out what comes next. The work is simple. I fix locks, replace light fixtures, rewire control panels, and keep my head down. It is exactly what I need right now. Honest work. Straightforward problems with straightforward solutions. I turned my phone back on after 4 days. I had 63 missed calls, most from Marissa. Text messages from her sister Paige, from neighbors, from people at church. All with the same tone. Concern mixed with judgment. What happened? Are you okay? Marissa is worried sick. I did not respond to any of them. Then I saw the Facebook post. Marissa had written this long, heartfelt message about how I had a breakdown and walked out on the family without warning. She said I refused to communicate, that I left her alone with 2 kids, that she was trying to hold everything together. The comments were full of support, people offering to bring meals, saying they were praying for her, calling me selfish. One person said I should be ashamed for abandoning my responsibilities. The post had been shared 46 times. I sat in that motel room staring at the screen, and for the first time in weeks, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable. Of course she would control the narrative. That was always the plan. I had seen it on the content board. If he leaves, shift to victim narrative. What I did not expect was the email. It came from an account I did not recognize. The subject line said, "You should know this." I almost deleted it thinking it was spam, but something made me open it. It was from Logan. He said he made a burner email because he did not want Marissa or Kelsey to see. He said his mom was not sad. She was angry, mostly angry that the Father's Day video never went live because I did not give her the reaction she wanted. He said Paige had been over to the house 3 times already, and they were talking about lawyers and money. Then he sent me a photo. It was the content board again, but updated. New bullet points had been added in Paige's handwriting. If he leaves, document everything. Divorce leverage. Temporary spousal support. Logan did not say much else. Just, "I thought you should see what is really going on. I do not think this is fair." Then he signed off. I stared at that email for an hour. Logan is 15. He should not have to be the one telling me the truth. He should not have to sneak around to send me evidence of what his mother is planning. But I was grateful, because now I knew. This was not about a failed marriage or hurt feelings. This was a calculated play, and I was about to get destroyed if I did not start protecting myself. I got a job at an electrical supply store the next week. The owner, a guy named Rhett, is 62 and has been in the trade his whole life. He retired from fieldwork a few years ago but still runs the shop. We got to talking one day while I was restocking wire spools, and I ended up telling him a version of what happened. Not all the details, just enough. He listened, nodded, and then said something I will not forget. If you don't control your story, someone else will, and they'll make you the villain every time. That same week, I got certified mail at the motel. It was a formal request for temporary spousal support. Marissa's lawyer was claiming that because I had taken on a father figure role, I owed financial responsibility even after separation. Paige's fingerprints were all over it. The language was sharp, strategic, designed to corner me. I could see exactly what they were doing. If I fought it, I would look like I was abandoning the kids. If I agreed, I would be financially gutted while she rebuilt her image online and moved on. I realized then that staying silent was not noble. It was not taking the high road. It was just letting them win. I needed a lawyer. I needed a plan. And I needed to stop acting like this was going to resolve itself quietly. Rhett gave me the name of someone his daughter used in her divorce. A guy who does not mess around and does not care about optics. I called him the next day. We have a meeting scheduled for Monday. I do not know what happens next, but I know I am not going to keep being the guy who just takes it and hopes for the best. Logan sent me one more message last week, just 3 words. Don't give up. I am not planning to. Update 2. A lot has happened since my last update. I got the lawyer, his name is Tom, and he is exactly the kind of blunt, no-nonsense guy I needed. First thing he told me was to stop reading Marissa's social media. You can't control what she says, he said. You can only control your response, and right now, your response is to stay quiet and let me handle this. So I did. I deleted Facebook off my phone. I stopped checking her posts. I focused on work, on getting my own place, and on something I started to keep busy. I had been filming short videos on my phone about electrical safety and home repairs. Nothing fancy. Just me explaining how to check a breaker box, how to replace an outlet, how to tell if your wiring is up to code. I posted them on YouTube under the name Wire Right with Martin. I did it because I had free time and because it felt good to teach something useful. I was not expecting anyone to watch. The production quality was basic. My phone propped up on a stack of books, natural light from the window, me talking directly to the camera like I was explaining something to a neighbor who needed help. But one video, about DIY fire hazards that people create without realizing it, went viral. Someone shared it on a home improvement subreddit. Then a safety advocacy group reposted it. It hit 500,000 views in a week. The comments were full of people thanking me, saying I had probably saved their house, asking when the next video was coming. Then sponsors started reaching out. A tool company wanted me to review their products. A home improvement retailer offered partnership terms. Suddenly I was getting offers that came with real money. Not side hustle money. Real, life-changing money. I moved out of the motel and into a small apartment. 1 bedroom, decent kitchen, quiet building. I set up a filming area in the corner with a workbench and basic lighting. The channel kept growing. I was making more from YouTube in a month than I made in 3 months at the supply store. I still kept the store job because I liked Rhett and the routine, but the channel was becoming something real. That is when Tom called me with news that made my stomach turn. He said Marissa's lawyer had sent over new filings. She was claiming the YouTube channel as a marital asset. She argued that because we were still legally married when I started it, she was entitled to a percentage of the revenue. But here is the part that made me realize how deep this went. Tom had been digging through our shared email and cloud storage, and he found something I had not seen. Marissa had already registered creator tools in both of our names. Months ago. She had drafted partnership contracts that listed me and her as co-creators. She had set up joint accounts with platforms I had never even heard of. This was not her reacting to my success. This was her setting a trap, waiting for me to do something profitable so she could claim it was hers too. Tom said it in a way that made it clear this was not normal. She planned this, Martin. Whether you stayed or left, whether you fought or gave in, she had a move ready. You were always going to lose unless you got out ahead of it. I felt sick, not because of the money, because of what it meant. Every version of this ended with me being used. If I had stayed and played along, I would have been her content. If I left quietly, I would have been her villain. Now that I was building something, she wanted to take it. Logan reached out and asked to meet. We met at the public library in one of the study rooms. He confirmed everything. He said the Father's Day prank was never really about being funny. Marissa wanted a reaction she could use. If I got upset, she had content. If I played along, I looked weak. If I left, she had leverage. Paige had been coaching her the whole time, helping her set up strategies for different outcomes. Logan said he heard them talking late at night, planning how to spin things depending on what I did. Then he said something I did not expect. You didn't leave us, Martin. You left the show. And honestly, I wish I could leave too. I did not know what to say to that. I told him I was sorry he had to be in the middle of this. He just shrugged and said, "It's not your fault. Mom's been like this for a while. You were just the first person to stop playing along." I left that meeting knowing I needed to take control. Tom helped me form an LLC for the YouTube channel. We separated my finances completely. I filed for divorce first, which apparently matters more than I thought it would. And I posted a single video on the channel, pinned to the top, stating that I would not be discussing my personal life publicly, and that any claims about shared ventures were false. Marissa did not take it well. She posted an invitation to Kelsey's high school graduation open house, with a line at the end that said, "All are welcome." It was public. It was pointed. Logan warned me that if I did not show up, the story would be that I ran away from the kids. That I was bitter and vindictive and could not even show up for a major milestone. Tom said I did not have to go, that it was probably a setup, but I decided I was going anyway, not to argue, not to defend myself, just to show up, visible, calm, legally protected. I was done running. I was done hiding. If she wanted a confrontation, she could have one. But it was going to be on my terms this time. Final update. The open house was on a Saturday afternoon. I showed up at 2, right when the invitation said it started. I parked on the street instead of the driveway because I did not want it to look like I was claiming space I did not belong in anymore. I sat in my truck for a minute before getting out, watching people mill around through the windshield. The yard was full of people. Neighbors, relatives, some of Kelsey's friends. There were balloons tied to the mailbox and a folding table covered with food. Someone had set up a photo board with pictures of Kelsey from kindergarten through senior year. It looked like every other suburban graduation party I had ever been to. Normal, celebratory, the kind of event where nobody expects drama. I walked up the driveway, and the conversation stopped. People turned. I could feel the weight of it. I was the guy who abandoned his family, remember? The villain in Marissa's story, and most of these people believed it. I kept walking. I had a card for Kelsey in my pocket and a gift card to a bookstore. I was not there to cause a scene. Marissa saw me before I made it to the backyard. She stepped out from the side gate and blocked my path. Her voice was low but sharp. "You're not ruining her day again." I looked at her for a second, then said, as calmly as I could, "I'm here to congratulate her. That's all." She did not move. "You think showing up fixes anything?" I did not answer. I just stepped around her and kept walking. I was not going to take the bait. I found Kelsey near the food table. She saw me and her expression went blank, like she could not decide if she was supposed to be happy or angry. I handed her the card and said congratulations. She took it, said thanks, and someone called her name and she was gone. That was fine. I did not expect a tearful reunion. That is when one of the neighbors, a guy named Paul who lived 3 doors down, walked over with a beer in his hand and a big smile. He clearly did not read the room. "Hey Martin, good to see you, man. Hey, whatever happened to that Father's Day video your wife was talking about? She said it was going to be hilarious. Did it ever go up?" The backyard went silent. I mean completely silent. Marissa's face went white. Paige, who had been standing near the grill, looked like she was about to intervene, but she did not move fast enough. Logan stepped forward. He had been sitting on the back steps, quiet, watching everything. But now he stood up and walked into the middle of the yard. His voice was steady, louder than I had ever heard it. The video didn't go up because it wasn't a prank. It was planned content. There was a content board. Mom and Aunt Paige wrote out exactly what to do depending on how Martin reacted. If he got upset, they were going to post it and say he couldn't take a joke. If he left, they were going to use it in court. It wasn't a Father's Day gift. It was a setup. Paige tried to cut him off. "Logan, that's not appropriate right now." But Logan did not stop. "It's true. I saw the board. I took a picture of it. I sent it to Martin because he deserved to know what was really happening. This whole thing was fake. The gift, the posts about him abandoning us, all of it." People were staring. Some at Logan, some at Marissa, some at me. I did not say a word. I just stood there, hands in my pockets, watching it unfold. Marissa tried to recover. "You're twisting things. You're upset because your stepdad left and you're lashing out." Logan shook his head. "No. I'm upset because you turned our family into a content strategy, and I'm done pretending it's normal." I did not need to say anything after that. Tom, my lawyer, was standing near the fence. I had asked him to come as a witness, just in case. I walked over, handed him a USB drive with screenshots of the content boards, the creator account registrations, the emails, everything we had gathered. He nodded. Then I turned back toward Marissa. I did not raise my voice. I did not lecture. I just said, "You didn't lose a husband, you lost control of the narrative." And then I left. The divorce went through 2 months later. I did not get everything. Marissa got half the value of the house. I lost some shared assets. It was not a total victory, but it was fair. The important part was that I did not owe spousal support tied to the kids, and the YouTube channel stayed mine. Logan chose to live with his biological father for a while, but he still texts me. We meet up sometimes for lunch or to work on a project. He is doing okay. Better than okay. He told me recently that leaving that house was the best thing I ever taught him. That sometimes walking away is not giving up. It is refusing to be part of something broken. I still have the mug. I keep it on my desk in the corner where I film. I use it to hold wire nuts and screws. It is a good reminder. They called me replaceable. What they really meant was disposable. Someone they could use and discard when the content ran dry. Walking away was the first thing I ever fixed for myself.